Before we begin this meeting, we acknowledge that we're in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the Huron-Robinson Treaties area. We recognize the long history of First Nations and Métis peoples on this land and show respect to them today. As we've learned from our First Nation partners, I want to stress the importance of accepting our responsibility to take care of Mother Earth, her plants, her animals, and our shared peoples. We must ensure that the decisions we make today will take into consideration the future of our children and that of their children's children's. And as settlers on this land, we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all of the generations of the people who've taken care of this land for thousands of years. So I call this meeting to order. You have received an addendum as the only addition or change to the agenda. And with that addendum, can I have approval of the agenda? Thank you. And is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Councillor Fellner.
Declare that I may have a conflict of interest, pecuniary interest related to the following matter, agenda item 6.c report number PL 2025-012, official plan amendment application number OPA 2024-001-F and zoning bylaw amendment application number R-2024-007-7-F for KC Holdings, Inc.
Thank you. Pass that over. Thank you. So now I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular and closed session meetings of council held on June 16th, 2025 as circulated. Ken and Gail? All in favor? Thank you. And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn the regular meeting to hold a public meeting for the following matter. Consent application numbers B 2025-0011 and 12-H and zoning bylaw amendment application numbers R 2025-0011 and 0012-H for Morasuti. Could I have a motion to go into public meeting? Terry and all in favor? Thank you. Council will now hold public meetings for proposed consent and zoning bylaw amendment applications. In accordance with the Planning Act, Council will consider all matters placed before it prior to granting a consent or passing a zoning bylaw amendment. Anyone wishing to receive a notice of a decision or notice of passing of a zoning bylaw amendment and who has not submitted such a request in writing should provide your full name and address to the deputy clerk. No one other than the prescribed persons may appeal an application under the provisions of the Planning Act if they do not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin prior to the decision of Council, then the Ontario Land Tribunal may dismiss the appeal. The purpose of consent application numbers B 2025-0011 and 0012-H for Morasuti are to permit two lot additions to benefit 117A and 117B Steeles Road. The purpose of the associated zoning bylaw amendment application numbers R 2025-0011 and 0012-H for Morasuti are to recognize deficient lot area and frontage resulting from lot additions. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property, posting on the Township of Seguin's website, and by regular mail on June 17th, 2025. Notice was therefore considered provided in accordance with requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to these applications?
No correspondence has been received.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers or on electronic participation who has wishes to speak in favor of or in opposition to this?
Hi there. Hopefully, you can hear me.
Could you please identify yourself and give us your address?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good afternoon, Council. Lenny Dennis Planning, Box 254, Novar, Ontario, P0A1R0. I was retained by the Deconing Group, who are the agents for the applicant in this regard and to assist with the planning process. Had an opportunity to review the staff report, and I think that's a fair and accurate description of the proposal. Just quickly, just to highlight the proposal and the merits of it. I think it's fairly straightforward. It's a reciprocal land exchange. Essentially, the lot areas are virtually unchanging. No new lots are being created. No new development is proposed. The official plan provides direction in terms of lot additions to correct a certain situation. In this case, it'll improve the side yard setbacks, bringing the property more into compliance and more compatible. Here's the function of both lots are suited for the land exchange. It negates future land use and any conveyancing issues as they're correcting an encroachment of existing structures and putting them on the lands to which they belong. It doesn't exceed the maximum lot coverage even after the land swap. I'm not unaware of any neighbors or public agency concerns or comments, and I respectfully request council approve the applications that have had a subsequent meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does council have any questions? Councillor Fellner.
Just a comment, because it's in my ward. And I actually have had 40 years of history with these particular properties through the previous owner. So to me, it looks like a really reasonable solution to kind of a historic sort of, we're going to build where we want to build sort of problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add, Brady?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? No. Council will now close the public meeting and reconvene to the regular meeting. I have a motion that the public meeting held for the following matters is hereby closed and the regular meeting is hereby reconvened. Moved by Mario. Seconded. A seconder, Ken. All in favor? Thank you. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the staff reports as presented on the agenda for the July 7th, 2025 meeting of council. Can I have a mover? Mario. Seconder. Wake up, guys. All in favor? Thank you. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby approve the official logo for the Township of Seguin as per the recommendation of staff report number CO 2025-003, Seguin Township final refreshed logo attached to this resolution as Schedule A and adopts the brand guidelines attached to this report as Appendix A. Need a mover? A seconder? And I see that we have both Valerie and Brady, Becky here to answer any questions. Are there questions from council? Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe my memory's not serving me correctly, but I think at our last meeting when we chose this logo, that it was said that the natural place to be was in bold letters. And we agreed on that. not, you know. So, and I'm just asking the question. That's what I thought that, because it didn't,
It's not in my recollection, but if you go through the full presentation, there are many places where it does not appear, and there are the main one on page 2 of the staff report. It does have the natural place to be. Valerie, do you want to respond to it?
Through the mayor to Councillor Collins. Working with Becky, we played a little bit around with where that tagline was placed for maximum visibility. The reason we don't want it to be any thicker of a font is we want to ensure it's highly accessible from a distance and the letters don't appear crowded. I can refer to the registered graphic designer if she has anything to add to that, but our priority was legibility.
thank,
It's just to confirm with Valerie that yes, that was our approach.
my, excuse me, Mayor. But my approach was readability. That's,
Okay.
I guess there's two parts to the resolution. One is the township refreshed logo, and the second is the brand guidelines, which is also part of the same resolution, which outlines how things will be adapted and resolution. I guess, we can go to a vote. Are there any other council comments on what is presented other than Councillor Collins? Councillor Bazinski.
Not a comment on the logo. It's just a comment that I hope we will continue the process of replacing the logo when it becomes required rather than a blanket replacement of the logo, spending a lot of money. I'd like to see it phased in when required.
Your worship, I'll just quickly confirm for Councillor Brzezinski that that's the plan. We won't be unnecessarily replacing things when they reach their end of life. That's when the new logo will be installed as we're replacing assets in the future.
Councillor Adams is next.
The only thing difference I can see in making it a bold or making it capital letters, it's just gonna make a bolder statement, that's all. I find with both ways, either way.
Thank you. I think it's not our job to design, but they can take our comments forward. Councillor Finson.
I would just like to say through you to what Valerie had said, is that I do understand that because I have a problem reading bold in a distance. It all gets together. I do it on my work all the time. I don't bold things that I need to be seen because they don't get seen. They have to be clear. So I'm just commenting on that I understand what she's saying about the boldness of the lettering. It does get crowded when it's on a sign.
Councillor Getty.
Like guys on the other side of the table, they're trying to find the button. I just wanted to thank Becky and Valerie. I think the new logo looks sharp. I think it's modern. I am a traditionalist. I really liked what we had, but I'm impressed, and I just want to say thanks. Whether we bold it, whether you decide to bold it, but I think the concept is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Collins, last comment on this.
to me, I mean, which way they decide to choose is all right with me. But I just brought that up simply because I think we did vote on that. And like I said, my memory could be a little bit fuzzy, but so that was the question. But very good job up until now, girls. That's, yeah. So I'm 100% for it moving forward.
Thank you. I think our Chief Administrative Officer would like to weigh in.
Thank you, Your Worship. As I recall it from the previous meeting, the the logo that was presented and recommended by staff is what was adopted by council, and what you see is what was originally presented. So appreciate the feedback, and it sounds like we're comfortable with the direction we're going. So we'll be ready to roll.
So I need to call a vote. All in favor of the resolution? Thank you, and that is carried unanimously. So we have an update from Community Services. I'm assuming Dominique will be here. It's pretty self-explanatory in your agenda package, but Dominique, do you want to take us through it a little bit?
Sure. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is just basically an invitation. We were looking for a convenient date to invite council and staff to drop in on the master plan process for the Parks, Culture and Recreation Master Plan. The company that is helping us with this is Think Design, and they will be on site that day, which is Tuesday, August 5th. And they'll be doing all the site visits, but in between from 12 to 2, we thought it would be a good time for council to be able to drop by before the council meeting. So it's to get your feedback on all of the various inventory we have across Seguin Township, which is vast. And we, as I said, will be inviting staff to drop in as well.
Just one question. Does it include the waterfronts?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bazinski.
Just wondering what public involvement you plan on besides just council and staff?
Yes, this is just the first step. So council and staff will be the first workshop, and then we have 2 more to follow up, which will be public engagement. So we will be reaching out through social media on the website and getting the public to attend those. We don't have the dates set yet, but we will shortly.
Councillor Bazinski, a follow-up question?
Yeah, so it's wonderful to rely on the website, but quite frankly, for a lot of cottage association members, seasonal residents, they're not checking the website. Could I make a recommendation that staff should be looking at our, we have a list of all the associations, and that for things like this, we should be sending a notice out to the association contacts so they can contact their membership, because quite frankly, otherwise you're not getting a good circulation to our residents.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. To Councillor Bazinski, later on in the agenda, you'll see, and I'm not trying to get ahead of ourselves here, but in the waste report, you'll see the process that was followed for how we engage the community. It's rather extensive, including how we distributed the information about the opportunity to engage in the waste. That is the template on how we will be moving forward for public consultation, and how and what we're going to do to reach out and engage with folks, which includes distribution to the lake associations and various road associations, etc. So we're very strong focus on engaging the community in all of these types of initiatives, and I can assure you that that is the intent.
Thank you, Dominique. We'll look forward to the open house. Thank you. We move on to the planning report, and I have a bylaw, that bylaw number 2025-053, being a bylaw to adopt amendment number 13 to the official plan for the Township of Seguin, OPA-2024-0001-F-K for K&C Holdings, Inc., Rural Settlement Area, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. I need a motion to put this on the table. Ken and Mario. And we are welcoming Tim Kane, who is the planner on this file. Tim, do you want to take us through this?
Certainly, Your Worship, and happy to walk you through the two applications that you have before you this afternoon. One of those is the application for zoning bylaw amendment, and the other one is the upper level official plan amendment. Essentially, both those applications are seeking to add an exception to the rural designation in the official plan to allow for a new rural community. This rural community allows for lots along Osler Park Drive for employment uses, as well as a range of housing choices internal to the site, and then also externally to the site along Hunter Road as well. The official plan amendment is quite simple. It has been assessed and is considered to meet the provincial planning statement. Sorry, that changes as we know, as well as for the most part the official plan in general, save and except that we will be adding an exception to that rural designation as I mentioned to you. The zoning bylaw amendment is a little more complicated, and this was deliberately so just to allow flexibility. You may recall at the public meeting that there was a variety of housing choices being offered, and to that end, and until we get the application for the actual subdivision and or the plan of condominium to actually block out that site into various parcels, we've left some flexibility in that zoning bylaw amendment to provide for that range of housing types that we talked about, everything from singles to semis to townhouses and multi-unit units as well, up to 5. So those are built into that new zoning bylaw. Along Hunter, those uses have been generally limited to single detached dwelling types to maintain that character along Hunter Drive moving forward. The good thing about this site and the way the conceptual design that you see in the report is that those new housing types will be internal to the site. So yes, it will be a new character for the municipality, but at the same time, it will be self-contained, and that's kind of why we're calling it this rural community, because between the employment uses along Osler Park Drive, the range of housing types internal. This will have its own character internally, and we think it's going to be a great addition to the housing stock for the municipality. So I'm available for any questions if there's anything further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just want to explain that our Director of Planning happens to be on vacation. So that's why we have Tim, the expert on this file, with us today. Does anyone have any questions for him? You've seen the preliminary plans through Halls. Councillor Bazinski.
Yeah, I support the applications. I just was wondering, and I'll make the comment, for our own official plan update program, are we going to be classifying this area as a settlement area? That's a question that doesn't have to be answered today, but I would like it to be considered, and thank you.
Do you want to have a shot at that, Jason?
Perhaps I'll let the planner go at it first.
Sure. Through your worship to the councillor. Yes, the OPA, the official plan exemption that this application is proposing, if it is approved by council, then that exemption would be reflected in the new official plan. And since we are calling it a new rural settlement area, then it would potentially be a new rural settlement area in that new official plan update. But that would need to be considered in the context of the other settlements that are already there.
And just to add to that, the new official plan will install some provisions around the MZO lands as a settlement area, and this being so close in proximity potentially merges those spaces. That's to be determined. I'm not 100% sure on how that'll look, but we can certainly take that into consideration and provide further information in due course.
Okay, Councillor Bazinski, one follow-up.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it would be the same as the MZO lands, because the MZO lands are expected to be serviced by municipal water and sewer, and this development wouldn't be. So I think it would be more like a rural settlement area as defined in the new updated official plan. Just a comment.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing today is that it identifies it as a rural settlement area, and just suggesting that in proximity to what has already been rezoned as mixed use in the MZO lands in that future settlement area with higher levels of density, with different levels of service. But it is all very close in proximity to each other. So not exactly sure how that looks in the new official plan, but that will come forward. And I'll follow up with Taylor upon his return.
Any other questions from council? Oh, sorry, Councillor Getty.
Sorry, planning question. In the, on page 107, it talks about the 187 primary units that are going to be built, but it also makes reference that there's potential for up to 37 secondary dwellings. Can you just give an explanation in regards to what that part of the application contains, please?
Certainly, through your worship to the councillor, the option has been built into the zoning bylaw to have primary dwelling units within the proposed development, to have the option for a second dwelling unit. Whether that's in, a standalone away from the property or within the same dwelling, could be above a garage, but the opportunity is in there. The permission is there ahead of time through the zoning bylaw just to allow for that potential use to be allowed without having to come back to council or to the committee of adjustment later. We feel that's just another way of rounding out the housing choices in there by providing, these smaller potential rental units within the development as well. Just because it says up to 37 secondary dwellings doesn't mean that there's going to be 37 secondary dwellings in there. It's just allowing the potential for up to 37.
No, that's perfect. So really it's, like a legal basement apartment, for lack of a better term, or legal, not a secondary rental property that would be built on the same lot. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the idea would be is that, the primary owner living in the primary dwelling would have the option to, legally rent out a section of their home or legally rent out, a separate unit above a garage or in a separate dwelling on the site, meeting all the other criteria of the zoning bylaw.
And those septic conditions would have to be implemented. The capacity issues would have to be identified prior to that being authorized. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but the provincial statement is encouraging the ability of those secondary dwellings on virtually every property except for lakefront. So throughout the province. So we're following the province. Councillor Finson.
So do they have to be a certain size lot for it to have a secondary dwelling? I mean, there's rules around how many square feet you can have on a lot now. Would there be the same rules that would apply even though there's a secondary dwelling?
I think it would all fall within the zoning bylaw, but go ahead, Tim.
Yes, through your worship to the councillor, the provisions of the zoning bylaw take into account the possibility of these units coming in. So those units would have to meet the provisions of the zoning bylaw. And if they didn't, then they'd have to come to council for subsequent approval. But the idea is to pre-zone for those uses to make them easier to be established and to get that housing supply in place. The other part that was mentioned was, the servicing and the feasibility of the servicing and the size of the septics. The applicant is committed that, when he's building those primary homes, that he'll be taking into account the possibility of secondary dwellings at that time so that septic systems don't necessarily have to be upgraded in future either.
Thank you. Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess that we would be looking at rentals to not short-term rentals. We're looking at long-term rentals that will enhance the owner's capabilities of carrying a mortgage and so on and so forth. That's basically what we're looking at, right? Not short-term rentals on a weekly or monthly basis.
Through your worship, the council, that's exactly the case. The idea is to provide for long-term rentals with these units.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I will call a vote. All in favor? Thank you. And there's part 2 of this. I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-052 being a bylaw to amend the Township of Seguin zoning bylaw number 2006-125, property roll number 4903-030-011-01200, application number R 2024-0027-F for Osler Park Drive, K&C Holdings, Inc., is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Gail and Tid. All in favor? Thank you. And that's carried. One question to Mr. Hall. When are we going to start? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we move on to the strategic initiatives, which is a report from Forrest Pengra, Preston, and Tom on the waste management review. And this is for information only at this point. But it's a great report in our council package. So looks like it's over to Forrest and Preston first.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think the report speaks for itself. There's a few different areas that we focused on. Obviously, to Jason's point earlier, the engagement plan was a significant part of the undertaking for the survey to improve uptake and, well, I mean, at the end to have a statistically significant output. The other side of that is the results as they came in, the key findings and the like. We're happy to field any specific questions council may have. In preparation for that, I'll bounce the question off of the person who might have the answer, whether it's myself, Tom, Preston, or Valerie from the community engagement perspective. So I'm happy to field anything.
Thank you. Well, just today at the Stanley House transfer station, somebody stopped me and said, there was actually somebody here with pieces of paper asking me to fill this out a few weeks ago. So it worked. He remembered, and he was talking about solutions today. Councillor Fellner.
Yeah, I spent some time and read this, and I just wanted to, it's pretty extensive. It takes quite a bit of time to go through it. So it's really pretty looking, but there's a lot of information in it. And I know there was a lot of hard work that's gone into getting this. So this is, I think, exactly what we were trying to get at a couple of months ago when we started off down this road, is to get some significant data to let staff. And it looks like they've got the data that they can start making some pretty good recommendations to us. So I just wanted to say, well done, all of you, the team, and thanks very much for the effort.
Thank you. Councillor Geddes next.
Yeah, I think the report is excellent. You guys did a great job on it. And I know that you're working on, potential solutions or options to be presented. But now that you've collected the raw data, and I know it's not something that's going to be able to be exact, but I think there'd be a benefit both for us as council, but also for the ratepayers in the community to understand what the costs are associated to the municipality for the illegal dumping, the dumping by contractors, the cleanup costs, the man hours associated to it, what percentage of their tax dollars is going to not just servicing. Waste is a very expensive issue to deal with in any community, but the costs associated to the illegal dumping, I think as we move forward, it'll allow us to be able to articulate, because there may very well be some very tough decisions have to be made at this table. And I think that when we can explain those to people, why those decisions are or are not being made, or whatever processes we put in to try to deal with those, I think we now have the information with the work that you've done to be able to at least start talking about financial impacts to taxpayers and what it's costing us for the problems that we're trying to deal with. Thank you.
Thanks. Ken, you're next. Counselor Adams?
Yeah, I agree with Greg. It's a good report, a national report. There's a lot of good ideas. But this time of year, I go to the dump at least twice a week, and every time I go there, they're full. Last weekend on the long weekend, I seen I'm sure he was a tourist. He was in front of the bins with a truck and a trailer, and he was just throwing stuff. So that's what they're getting away with. And the storage, the other bins we got at the dumps, they're always full now. So, in talking to Tom, he can't get more bins to keep up with the demand. So, I don't know if there's some way down in the future to get extra bins through the township itself to work with. I don't know, even on long weekends, even if you could put somebody there to look after the dumps for the weekend, find out who's dumping.
Thank you, Worship. I don't mean to step on the toes of the authors of the report, but I also think, Councillor Adams, you're anticipating what we're working on, which is the recommendations on how we're going to manage this going forward. So I think the process that we're in will help to bring forward a series of recommendations or options and alternatives to how we are currently doing everything from what status quo is to perhaps something very creative, different, innovative. I'm not sure where the team will land just yet, but the solutions is what's coming next. And then there'll be a fairly sizable, again, engagement with council and with the community on what those solutions look like, costs associated with those, costs associated with everything from the illegal dumping or contractor dumping to, potential investment in infrastructure, because some of this might require infrastructure dollars to address, or staffing, as you're suggesting. So don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we certainly have the team you see on the screen with us today is working very, very diligently right now to put together an options report on how and what those options are for you. And that'll be the next topic of discussion.
Counselor Bazinski's next.
Thank you. On my way over here, I stopped at Brooks Road, and there was a big leather Chesterfield, a couple of other pieces of furniture, plastic chairs and everything. It'll take 2 men in a truck to move all that stuff. So it is expensive for the township because you have to dedicate those resources to taking away garbage that should never have been dumped there in the first place. Couple of things. My brother indicated to me that when he went to the dump, he saw a bylaw officer car at the dump, but he didn't get out of his car. So I was kind of wondering if that was, what that was all about. But then secondly, and more importantly, when I raised the question with our former Director of Public Works, he would say that there were fixed volume contracts that Seguin has with McDougall and wherever in Southern Ontario the garbage was taken, and that even with the illegal dumping, we didn't meet the fixed volume contract. So it was no cost to the municipality. So what I'd like to understand is, in our contracts, are we contracting for fixed volumes, or are we just contracting based on the tonnage? And if that's the case, then it is significant. But if we're contracting on a fixed volume and we're not meeting those volumes, even with the illegal dumping, then is that a cost to the township, if you get my drift?
Tom, can you reply to that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So it's just a tonnage price. We do have a fixed cost to go to McDougall. There was some negotiations a few years ago. I can't remember the year, with Niagara. It just wasn't feasible for us to continue down that path. It's just a far 11-hour round trip, where McDougall is just around the corner. So we've abolished that agreement. So right now, we are there's no set tonnage right now. It's strictly to McDougall at a set cost, and that contract expires end of 2026.
Is it a set cost per ton or a set cost to the municipality?
Set cost per ton to us. We have had this agreement in place. I believe it was a 10-year agreement. I don't have that number in front of me when it first started, but it is a fixed cost to the municipality. And what you read on the website of McDougall is not what we pay.
And if I can just add to Tom's comments, I think, again, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but the future report, as I understand from the team, will contemplate and discuss those costs, that contract, and what our future looks like with contracted services. So I think you'll find a great amount of detail that perhaps you're asking yourself today will be included in that report. And if you have questions, feel free, of course, just to send it to us, and we'll ensure that we try to capture it if we haven't already got it logged as an item that we're working towards.
Thank you. Councillor Collins, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess this question will be for Forrest. Are you looking at moving in a direction with the Dillon report? Are you using the Dillon report as a template moving in this direction, or is this not, or you're not?
Through your worship, it's being used in conjunction with the Dillon report. The intent of this one is not to duplicate the work that had been undertaken by them. It's to expand on the areas that were lacking. So some of the areas that were lacking were more business process related, kind of the inner workings, the internal costs as it related to the business process, including things like staffing requirements, transportation costs, costs per ton, estimated percentages of non-resident waste disposal, and that sort of thing. Those were things that were not contemplated by the Dillon report, but that we are contemplating with the waste management review.
Thank you.
So the waste management review is another report?
It's a complement to the Dillon report.
So now we got two reports to deal with this subject matter.
Yes.
Right?
Through your worship.
Separate issues.
Through your worship, the Dillon report, some of the tasks included in it recommended a waste management review. So it's a natural segue to be included as part of the overarching strategy.
That's the answer I was waiting for. Thank you, Forrest.
Yeah.
Councillor Finson.
I just want to say the report is it's beautiful. It's got a lot of information. We discuss this topic at home a lot. We have all our solutions, of course, all the neighbors do. And I've had many, many phone calls. I had some texts today wanting to know when the public meeting was, because they're very interested in helping you with your waste management. So it's timely, and there's a lot of interest in my community in helping resolve this situation. So as soon as the public meeting is set and available, I would love to know, because I have a list of people who would like to know that too. Great job, everybody. Thank you.
Yes, Your Worship, I'm just scanning quickly, trying to get back to the right page. The public meeting has been earmarked in this report for, I'm trying to find the date, the 14th, I think it is, of August. So yeah, we'll advertise. I'll look to the team to confirm, but I think as far as we're concerned, that's the date. It's been established. We're going to work towards that. And of course, we'll communicate that through our various channels to make sure everybody's aware of that date.
Councillor Bazinski, last comment.
Just questioning, what day of the week is the 14th?
Thursday.
If it's a Thursday, to be quite blunt, we had a very poor turnout for the official plan public meeting, and it was held on a Thursday. And the seasonal residents are typically back in Toronto, earning their income so they can afford their cottage. And I don't think that a Thursday midweek is a good time for a public meeting. It should be held on a weekend so that seasonal residents can participate in the meeting.
Thank you. As we did discuss at the open house for the official plan, we said we would do everything we could for the subsequent meeting to have a Zoom in option as well as an in-person option. So I'd suggest to this team that you might want to look at that for the August 14th meeting. So anybody can attend from anywhere and also have it on YouTube so they can also see it at any time of day. So it's just, I understand what Councillor Bazinski's saying, and there are several lake associations actually that have not gone back to in-person meetings after COVID because they've found with Zoom options, they get way better attendance than they ever did in person. So it's just something to look at. And since my kids call me the mayor of roads and garbage, I'm really intrigued and hope that we can have some creative solutions because I think our constituents know there are problems and are anxious to work with us to come with creative solutions. So thanks for collecting the data, and we look forward to the 14th. We move on to the business, and I think the next two are just for information. You have a letter from the West Perry Sound Health Center, just giving you information that they're hoping to get an MRI machine. There is another private group also hoping to get a MRI machine in Perry Sound, so they are a little bit in competition because I'm sure the province will only give Perry Sound one. But once one comes, that'll be a big advantage for the healthcare in the area. Does anybody have any questions about the letter from Executive Director Sanderson? The OPP is the next one, and it's their annual report. I don't know whether you'd like to speak to it, Councillor Getty, since you're a representative. We do have a motion to approve it and accept it after. Should we do this first? Okay, we'll put it on the table. So I need a mover and a seconder. Can you move, Councillor Getty and Ken? Okay, go ahead.
I can talk about it now or talk about it council report. Under the new Community Policing Safety Act, there's a requirement that all police services boards provide an annual report. Although, it took a while for things to get up and running through 2024, they met the legal requirements doing their 2024 report. The board has met on the 26th of June, finalized a budget and honorariums for both community and provincial appointees, which none of them have been done now anyway, so it's not costing us any money. Those things are moving forward. The board is actually coming together. The difference, as I've talked about before, is that when I would come back historically as a community police committee, you would come back and just report on the statistics that were relative to your community. The West Perry Sound Police Services Board, as you see in the report, addresses all of the crime and statistical trends associated to the total West Perry Sound area. Helena Wall is the staff sergeant in charge of Perry Sound. She is committed outside of the Police Services Board. She will be providing on a biannual basis numbers and statistics specific to Seguin, and I'll bring them back at the next meeting. We can discuss those as well. So things have changed from what it was before. but they also recognize that the board is made up of individual councillors from all municipalities. So it's just kind of the growing process through that. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Do any councillors have any other questions? I'll say that I'm glad to hear that because my two comments were that I felt that the report had an overemphasis on the town of Parry Sound. It felt like a lot was happening in the town and that there wasn't a breakdown even of rural, let alone just of Seguin. And the other thing I found missing with my Safe Quiet Lakes hat on is there wasn't much about policing on the water in the report. And that's, I think, critical to us. Councillor Bazinski?
Well, I can tell you from personal experience that last week the OPP were on Otter Lake because they stopped me.
I'm surprised you're here today.
Did you?
Hi. You know what? They gave me the benefit of the doubt on a couple of things.
Councillor Getty?
No, and I think I will take back the comments at the next board meeting in regards to the 2025 report as it's going. I know that the staffing numbers for the OPP, you know, obviously in a lake district, I would like to see them on the water more. You know, I understand the limitations that they have based on it, and I know that the funding process that they have, historically, the OPP used to hire retired OPP officers on contract for the summer to man the boats. And that's why historically there was more presence on the water. That's been eliminated over the last number of years through budget cuts. So I think that, you know, let's see where we're at in the 2025 report, and then it may be something that A, as a police services board, and B, as the contributing municipalities within the West Parry Sound Police Services Board, that we push the province for more funding to enhance those programs.
Thank you. Councillor Fellner?
No, thank you, Mayor. So just to Councillor Getty's point, a few years ago, we inquired from the OPP why there was generally a lack of visibility in the summertime on any of the recreation trails that are where motorized vehicles are governed by provincial legislation, and they told us they didn't have any resources to spare because of the marine units, and basically most of the marine units are deployed on Georgian Bay and not on the inland lakes. And I think, you know, the ATV business is you know, growing at such a big rate. I mean, it's far bigger now than snowmobiles in this township or in this province, that the OPP needs to get with the new millennium, and some detachments do. The other side of the district, they seem to be on the trail more, but Parry Sound, we never see them. I don't even know if they have a machine. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Adams?
I just want to make a comment. It seems like the OPP and that they want to charge more money, but we don't seem to get we're not getting their service, or we're getting less service than what we're getting, and they're wanting more money.
Thank you. That's certainly what it feels like. So, thank you for the report, and we depend on you to take our comments back. So let's go to council reports. Oh, sorry, I've got a motion on the table to accept that report. Sorry. All in favor? Thank you. Sorry. But this is in open?
Yeah, this was the.
Okay, this is the addendum. Okay, so this is the addendum. I'll read it and then we'll ask for a motion, a mover and a seconder. A motion that in order to streamline permitting processes, provide improved customer services, and promote the ability to build more homes faster, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby request that the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing delegate authority with respect to the administration and enforcement of the Building Code Act and the Ontario Building Code relating to sewage systems to the Corporation of the Township of Seguin. And further, that the corporation of the Township of Seguin confirms it has the technical capabilities and human resource capacity necessary to fulfill the responsibilities associated with this delegated authority. Could I have a mover, please? Ken and Mario for a second. Any comments or questions? Councillor Bazinski.
I thought we were already delegated that authority recently.
The member of provincial parliament made an announcement that they were working towards it, but the official delegation has not taken place yet, and we've been requested to pass this motion, and this exact motion will be shared by a number of different municipalities so that we can hopefully see this across the finish line.
Other Councillor Getty.
No, my only question was, Jason, that in the motion, it says that we currently have the technical abilities and the human resource capacity. So we're not looking at a staffing increase to be able to take this on.
That is correct. Our staff, as they are today, are trained, capable. They'll need a bit of mentoring at times, but we will not be adding any staff to accommodate.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. This is 6 years in the making to be more customer focused. So let's hope this happens. Thank you. All in favor? You? Okay, now we're on to council reports. Councillor Adams, you go first.
On June the 18th, I attended the Recreation and Culture meeting. On June the 26th, I attended and cooked at the barbecue for staff and students. It's a great way for council to show their appreciation for all the staff's hard work and the students' hard work. There was also a West Prairie Sound Museum general meeting that evening. I went around to the business to finish getting donations for the silent auction. Then on Saturday, the 28th, I attended the Canada Day celebration and flipped burgers and hot dogs for the day. I received an email from the American Lake Property Owners Association with comments on the new OP, which I feel they had some valid points. I sent the email to staff. I sent the email to staff, but my understanding is I did it wrong, so I have to correct it. So I will correct it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bazinski.
Yes, I attended the official plan public meeting. It was a good meeting. It was, again, not that many people attended because of it being held in the middle of the week and with no Zoom option. There were a lot of comments brought up. One of them, which I'm kind of sensitive to, and I mentioned it to Taylor, was talking about Seguin Township as opposed to council. And there's no definition for Seguin Township. So one is left to question, what is Seguin Township? And even so, Seguin Township, the township per se doesn't do things. It's people, whether it be council or staff, they do things, not the township. So that was one that I agreed with wholeheartedly, that it should go back to Seguin Council as opposed to Seguin Township. And I know I've talked to 3 lake associations already in my ward, and they're in agreement with that, and they've been talking to me about a number of other issues related to the official plan. I mean, it's a good document, don't get me wrong. These are minor comments. Then other than that, the pothole issue came up again, and I can see even on Brooks Road, there's some potholes that they haven't been tamped down. So people try to avoid them, as I do, and sometimes hit the edge and it kicks the material out. So I think we need to look a little bit more strongly at how we're doing the potholes. And lastly, of course, Osler Park Drive has been repaved and you know, that was a great thing to do. I was on Horseshoe Lake Road in Councillor Adams' ward, and I thought, oh my God, you know, we really, and it's not a negative comment against our Public Works Department. It's a comment that a lot of the roads are in rough shape, and we're trying to deal with what we can with the amount of money that we can. So I guess we'll get to it, but yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Getty.
I mentioned that I had the West Perry Sound Police Services Board meeting, also the staff barbecue. I've had a number of phone calls as well, obviously in regards to roads and garbage. And I've been, you know, speaking to and working with Tom. I know that, you know, he's working at bringing forward potential solutions or how we're going to manage this. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's getting the calls. I'm sure that staff are, you know, they're as tired as getting the calls as us. Everybody wants to come up with a solution. So I look forward to, you know, what options are going to be presented so that we're able to go back. The issue of garbage was an extensive one for my ward this week. I mean, I have 3 landfills or 3 transfer sites in my ward. Some mechanical, some at Humphrey this weekend. There was some that were mechanical, some were breakdowns, and some were just volume. And I think that I know, speaking to Tom, you know, those are the type of things that we're looking to address collectively here. So I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Fellner.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got some good news for everyone with regards to potholes. We're not the only place that grew them. I was down on Peninsula Road last week and they had quite a crop there. And they were busy out doing basically the same thing that our guys are doing all over the place, trying to, you know, get their hands around it. And I've noticed in some areas, you know, significant improvements the last few weeks. So I know staff's out there just working as hard as they can, but there's a lot of potholes. I mean, it's it was a bumper year. I was at the rec committee meeting Councillor Adams alluded to, and it was a very good meeting, and I'd like to personally thank our CAO for coming out. We're at the point with the rep committee, I believe myself, and I think the other 2 councillors that sit on it, that we've been very successful in promoting a new culture in this township where one recreation committee can work with staff to develop and organize events. And so we're looking at developing a strategic plan to carry us through, and that plan needs to tie into the township strategic plan, and as well the new recreation plan that's coming out is very timely because there's an opportunity there for the rec committee to get involved with this, and there's a strategy to start encouraging more people to volunteer and become part of this township, which if you want to do more events, you got to have more volunteers. And you all know that it's really hard to get anybody to volunteer anything. So I think we made great progress. I can't speak for the other 2, but it was really, really good. And the one thing that was brought up by one of the counselors here, and I'm in total agreement, is this council needs to organize a barbecue for our volunteers in this township.
A meal at least.
A meal, a barbecue, what?
No, for the staff.
Not for staff, for volunteers.
Barbecued out.
Well, you know, then we'll do chicken wings. Anyhow, something to think about. I also attended Family Fun Night, the Rosso Dock. It was a great event. lots of fun, good food, tons and tons of people enjoying themselves. It was great music. It was really well done, and hats off to the staff, Dominique and her staff, and everybody else that helped in making this. I was also at the staff barbecue, which was good. I have to report that the pool is moving along at a great pace. Just, I don't know if you guys, anybody's been by to see it. It's really taking shape now. You can really see it. It's on time, on budget, just rolling along. We really got a great contractor on the site, and he's doing the project management for us as well. And that's it. I wrote at the end of my notes potholes, but I spoke to that first, so I'm done. Thank you.
Counselor Collins.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It's been a busy month for sure. These are the meetings that I attended. Was on June 17th, District of Perry Sound Municipal Association, and that was in regards to our September meeting conference here in Orville. Then on the 23rd, I had a meeting with our CAO and the crew from Star Lake in regards to the Star Lake Woods Road. Staff lunch on the 26th. Canada Day celebration on the 28th. I think our mayor could expand on that a bit. I'll leave that up to her. And then complaints. I have meetings, and then underneath I have complaints. Lake Isabella boat launch on the 29th, ongoing issues. Turtle Lake Road. They're calling it well, I'm not going to say the name. I've decided not to say the name, but potholes galore. Camp George this weekend was not a good weekend for us living on Maple Lake or cottaging on Maple Lake. There needs to be something done there. And the only good news I've got is Cogeco. Finally, the settlement area of Orville has been energized. And we're very, very fortunate. Everyone I've talked to, they're all getting it. Everybody's getting it. So it's either going to be a slam dunk or a failure because everybody's going to be on the 1 gigabyte download. So we'll see how that happens. And the installer is going to be at my place tomorrow. And he's doing 4 of us on the same. Yeah, right beside each other. So that's good. So yes, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Finson.
I had the Brasso Caring Community. We had our lunch and learn on the 17th. We had entertainment there, and it was rock and roll, and it was a little bit loud for some of the use. I liked it, but it was very well done, and it was a fun meeting. At 11 o'clock, I popped out of that and went into a DSAB meeting. They had a little special meeting, so that was completed, and it didn't take very long. And on June the 18th, I had a recreation and culture meeting, and it went really well. When Terry was there, we got a lot accomplished. That's something that wasn't, anyway. June the 20th, went to a volunteer appreciation at DeSalvo's in Perry Sound. Went to this family fun day, which was fantastic. Got to talk to a lot of people. Somebody asked me if I was campaigning. I said no. Not running for anything. June 25th, I had a Belvedere Heights meeting. They're talking about the renovations and the separation from the hospital. So everybody's organized. Everybody seems to know what they're doing. On the 26th, it was a staff lunch. Again, somebody asked me if my job was to talk to people. It was my granddaughter said, is your job talking to people, Nana? Anyway, no, I was here serving lunch. Anyway, I did get to talk to a lot of people, and it was great. had another Memorial Hall meeting on July the 4th, fundraising meeting. Our first official fundraiser is Lake Rotho, with Lake Rosso North Association on the 12th at Rosso Lake College between 3 and 5:30. The Doodads will be playing there. I phoned them today and they have confirmed that they'll be there. I'm looking forward to it, a little bit nervous, but you know, it's hard to know how many people are coming because everything's being done online and it's done a little differently than the normal social that they do. So combining it with our group. So we're hopeful that it will be successful. There'll be a lot of really nice silent auction gifts there if anybody wants to come. What else? I did a couple more things, but I can't remember. Um, I had some phone calls about the waste management and everybody's very interested. It wasn't really complaining. Well, oh my goodness, the stuff that's there is unbelievable. But that's not what they were calling for. They were calling because they want to contribute and they just wanted to know when everybody was meeting and whether they contribute by Zoom or by in person. They're really interested and they weren't angry. They just wanted to be there and they wanted to be a part of making it better. We have the conversation almost every day. We're solving the problems of the world, but we don't, we're just between us at home. but none of that is shared. But I'm sure everybody has the same idea. That's all. It was a good month.
Thank you, everybody, for all you're doing. It does get busier. The traffic's busier. There are more people here, therefore our phone calls ring more. So yes, I was on the 17th with several people on staff and Ted planning for the district meeting next September. It'll be in Orville. We've got a caterer and we're working on, Jim McCoubry is going to cater turkey dinner. And we're working on speakers. June 18th, I was at a meeting at Patterson K Lodge, which is a group of people called the People Who Care, who try and support not-for-profits in the whole region, including Muskoka. We also that day had a special meeting of the Municipal Services Board where we came out of that meeting to announce that there is a new name for the Recreation Center. It is now the Tamarack North Center, which is, I think, exciting. It's a local contracting company that bought the naming rights. You will see the name change. We are working, Valerie and I are working with Tamarack's agency of record to figure out how we do it and when we do it and that kind of thing. But anybody that knows somebody at Tamarack, whether it's Chris Madden, the CEO, or any of the staff, please thank them because it truly came from all of their staff, the impetus to name the center. I was at one of Graydon's constituency thank you meetings on the 19th of June. Also the 20th was the family fun night in Rosso. It was great. And I attended the Humphrey Elementary School grade 8 graduation, which is always kind of fun. My goodness, the dresses have changed since I was in grade 8. They're in high heels and sparkles and they've had their hair done and they've got corsages and it was really something. June 24th, I attended the Township of Muskoka Lakes and the Muskoka Lakes Association joint webinar on how they're implementing their short-term rental licensing bylaw. It was very informative and very detailed about who's doing what, when, how much it's going to cost, where it sits. It was very, very informative. They said they were going to have another one, and I would encourage you to attend just to see what's happening in our neighboring municipalities. The 26th was our staff barbecue. It was a little chillier than we'd hoped because the ice cream sandwiches weren't quite as exciting as we'd hoped if it had been 80 degrees, however. And Ted referred to Canada Day in Orville. It was a great day. It also was a little chilly. But together, Councillor Collins and I presented Mary Jane Zissoff with the Senior of the Year Award for Seguin. It came from the province. She was bowled over and much to our surprise, but it turned out very well. Her entire family happened to be there that weekend. And I had always thought she was 93. She's 95, going to have a birthday in a couple of weeks and become 96. And she's still making stained glass on contract for
good for her
churches, She taught at Notre Dame Cathedral on how to do stained glass in the historical way. So she was pretty excited about it. And it is an annual award. So between now and next March, start thinking about other seniors that might be worthy next year. July 2nd, I was at a fundraising meeting for the pool, the business committee with Ted. And I also attended the open house for the official plan with MHBC. And I thought Jamie Robinson did an excellent job of taking questions and managing some of the attendees. Put on another date I'd like you to put on your calendar. You may recall that one of our fundraising events is Kim's Swim for the pool. She will be swimming Lake Rosso on Friday, August 22nd. We've picked that Friday so it will coincide with the Rosso market and have more people for the barbecue. Our goal is to have her arrive at Rosso Beach shortly after 1 as kind of the market is closing, but it's a free barbecue, donations only. This is her 3rd year. She is quite a woman. If you want free hot dogs, about noon or 12:30.
What was the date?
The 22nd, August 22nd, Friday. And that's my report. Over.
Thank you, Your Worship. Touched on this a little bit today, but our official plan process continues to advance. If anybody was unable to attend the recent open house events, the presentation from MHBC and the draft official plan document are available at letsconnectseguin.ca. Roadside grass cutting has started. This seasonal maintenance exercise enhances safety and visibility for drivers and pedestrians. We all have concerns about the impacts that mowing has on milkweed and other plants. And just as a reminder, in 2024, the township introduced our pollinator offset program in collaboration with the Georgian Bay Biosphere. This is an initiative that supports biodiversity by planting milkweed in protected areas across the township away from the roadsides. So we appreciate everybody's cooperation as we work through that process. The Rosso Memorial Hall restoration project is well underway, as outlined in the master plan shared with the community and council in 2024. ERA Architects are hosting an open house on August the 8th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. to inform the final plan for restoring the building. Refreshments will be provided and all are welcome. As discussed earlier, Public Works is hosting a town hall event on August 14th to discuss solutions to improve services and standards at Seguin transfer stations. This is a follow-up to the engagement opportunity following the survey from early this summer. Please watch our website, social media channels for more information. And Seguin Public Library is offering lots of fun, free, and engaging activities this summer, including Family Trivia Night this Wednesday. Visit their online calendar for a full list of offerings. Also, can't ignore the Humphrey Museum is another great option for free, fun, hands-on learning this summer. And feel free to visit their Facebook page or seguin.ca for more information. That's it for me, Your Worship.
Thank you. So I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of Seguin does hereby receive the board and committee minutes and agendas and the correspondence as presented on the agenda for July 7th, 2025 meeting of council. All in favor? You. And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby proceed to a closed meeting at 3:51 p.m. in order to address matters pertaining to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by a municipality and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality. Could I have a mover, Gail and Terry? All in favor, moving into close. Thank you. Okay, I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby rise from the closed session and declare the regular meeting reconvened at 4:05 p.m. Can I move her? Terry and Gail. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, now we have a bylaw to go through here. So I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-054, being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and clerk to execute the minutes of settlement between Karen Cosma and the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, re Ontario Land Tribunal case number OLT-25-000264, minor variance A 2024-0039-H for 38 Summit Drive is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Can I have a mover? Ken? And a seconder? You. All in favor? So that's carried. do I need to note his abstention or just carried? Okay. And I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-051, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of meetings of council, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. I need a mover. Mario. Ed, all in favor? Thank you. And I have a motion that the council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn this meeting at 4:06 p.m. to meet again on Monday, July 21st, 2025, or at the call of the mayor. Thank you, Ken. I need one more to second it. I don't have a seconder. All in favor? Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.